Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. In today's video we're going to be taking the crankshaft out, the cush drive and Christmas tree, the gearbox out, lay shaft. So we'll have basically a basic engine casing. I did start cleaning up, as you can probably see, the gasket face or the crankcase face. And you can see it literally is like a new engine. You wouldn't think it was getting on for 35 years old, but hey ho. Right, so to get the crankshaft out, the easiest way, if we turn the engine around, and I'll show you that when we get around there, is to put a socket on the end of the crankshaft with a nut and just tap it through, because you're tapping in effect the solid part in here. You won't knock the crankshaft out of true. There's umpteen videos going back over the years with Vespa and Lambretta showing you knocking their crankshafts out with hammers. There is a tool to push it out. You know, you're putting all the weight on here as opposed to on the edge. The puller itself goes on the thread and pulls it in. I use a load of washers. There's loads of different ways of pulling the crankshaft in. Suffice to say, never hit the crankshaft on there when you're pushing it in. On the two webs that are like that, you don't want to knock them in or knock them out of true, or that way or that way. The crankshaft needs to be in line. So this was a brand new crankshaft that went in there, and as you can see, it's still in good nick. The bearing, etc., is in good nick. So I'm going to stop this video for a second, turn the engine around, and we'll start in. I don't know whether to take the gearbox out first. That might be an idea. So I need to get the circlip pliers, and I'll cut back in a sec. Right, if we look on the circlip there, it's open out to clear it. So put the circlips pliers on, and hopefully this will move it. They're not very beefy. No, I'm going to have to use a screwdriver, unfortunately. We'll get a screwdriver, and I'll get a knife just to go underneath. Push out the circlip again. In fact, we need to just spin it around so it's on an opening. Like that. That'll do fine. And we should be able to just preen it out. Needed to just turn. That's it. No. If at first you don't succeed, shift it back and try again. And again, the camera's really in the way while I'm doing this, but you know, que sera, sera. So we'll just put the blade under it again. That's it. And what we'll be able to do now is just to bring it out here, get rid of that dirt. Just rolling around bit by bit. Just turn that around again. Again, it's getting greasy there. That's it, it's off now. Bar the shouting, so our circlip's not damaged. Put that down, and our shim, our outside shim, remove that. Here we go. Then we've got our gears. First gear, and again, like with all gearboxes, you need to inspect here that all the gears are straight cut, nice and neat, and there's no damage in here. If these are all chipped and worn here and not square, the hang on, I'll show you it in a sec, but the cruciform, as they call it, or sliding dog, whatever you want to call it, will get damaged. So you do see them rounded. I mean, these gears are as good as the day Piaggio made them. So a third gear, again, no chips out of it. If you've got a worn or a chipped gear, bin it basically. And there's our fourth one. Oh. And you can see that's been in about 5 years, and look at the minimal wear on that. That's as good as new. And there's our inside shim. We will be taking this lay shaft out again, same as what we were doing with the or will be doing with this cush drive. I need a rag to keep my hands clean. Excuse me. There we go. And I'm just going to cut away while we turn the engine around. Right, so a socket and a little extension, and just tap this crankshaft. Just light taps. That's already started to move. It's about 3/4 of the way out. One crankshaft removed. There's no damage to anywhere on the crankshaft. And I don't know if you can see that or not. Made in Italy, Mazzucchelli on it. And that's our bearing still in place without coming out. What we can do now, we can take out the lay shaft by again putting a socket on there and just drifting it out slowly. I'll cut away and get a socket for that. Right, so put the socket on. These tend to be a lot looser than the crankshaft itself, so just a couple of light taps. There you go, that's already in. So push it back if you can, take the weight off the nut, and then slide it out. There you go. And I'm just putting the nut back on. Good grease on that. Put that safe. So if we're just now looking, we've got the cush drive now as the last item to be removed. I'm not taking out the felt and any bearing basically because they were new. I don't know whether to change the inside oil seal while I've got them. I probably will do. But all we need to do now is get a screwdriver and just knock. I can show you, there's 2 tab washers on there. You just need to knock them out the way, and then we need to just get our socket set on there. I'll see if I can get it high enough the camera to show you. And I'll spin it round a little bit again and just knock these washers out. You know, they're like a tab. Knock the tab out of the way. Doesn't have to be completely flat. That'll do anyway, it's out of the way. So I'm just going to get a socket, stick a socket on there and undo it. What I'm going to also do is I'm going to take this plate off just to give a bit more room, and it will show you what I'm doing a bit better. So you've got two little horseshoe clips holding the shoes on. Again, a screwdriver is good enough to get them off. They do go ping, so you know, be careful when you bring them off. Just a screwdriver, or even, where's that blade gone? On my other little screwdriver I was using earlier. That blade will do. Knife blade under it and just bring it out. There you go. That's one. Putting them in my tin, and the top one. Stick your knife under it. They just stop your shoes from moving. They don't really perform a lot, just stopping them moving up and down like that. So they're in my little box. So if we just get our screwdriver under here, put them off a bit. I am actually the wrong place here at the moment because we just need the shoes to open up like so. So put your screwdriver under there and just bring it off slightly. There you go. So it's just sitting on the edge there at the moment. You just need to get your screwdriver then and just wiggle the front and back till it clears. They're all free now, so our shoes can come off. I need to keep the shoes dry and clean. Then we've got 3 screws on here, and there's an O-ring behind that. Depending on how hard I've done these up. Perfect. 1, 2, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to off camera, of course, I'll rub this all down. There's a slight bit of rust at the back, and I'll spray that up again black. That's our plate off, and the O-rings there, they were all renewed as were these ones as well in the last build, so I won't be changing them. What they basically stop is when the oil comes down, petrol and oil that leaks out the carburetor, as it does on every Vespa, as you can see on the top, it stops it going in, and then on your brake shoe, on your bottom ones. So I'm just going to put the screws back in slightly and just give them a couple of turns. They're self tappers, 3 of them, and again stainless steel, no rust. 1, 2, and a third one up in that corner. And I don't know whether I'm going to be able to show you this on an EFI engine. I can see it, so let's see if we can just drop the camera down a bit. In fact, let me take it off its stand. And what I'm trying to show you here, on the later engines, this here is when your back oil seal goes, your rear hub oil seal goes, you'll get gearbox oil coming out of here. So if you've got a puddle on the floor, you know your rear hub oil seal's gone. On the older scooters it's here, and when it let go, obviously you get brake shoes covered in oil. There comes out onto your shoes. So the redesign of that is a safety reason why they did that. So behind the oil seal is a void with a hole drilled straight into the crankshaft, which sounds stupid, but it does work, and it can save your life, I suppose. It's, you know, it's another one of them good. Right on the edge of my finger there. Right, I'll stick that back in again. And then what we can do, I can show you taking off the cush drive Christmas tree mechanism. Right, so it's a 17mm, and if I can just make sure, yes, you can see me, to stick it on the nut and give it a turn. In fact, let me stand up. There we go. I can turn that by hand. And then what I need to show you is these single bearings that you don't want to lose. So we've got a flat washer that's got a shape on it, and then we've got a washer with a little cutout in it that goes inside the shaft. I'll explain that to you in a bit. Right, so if we now turn this engine around again, excuse me while I move it. It's so light now to move compared to when I pulled it out of the frame. Right, I'll get as close as I can to this. And bear in mind, I'm trying to get as close as I can. Right, I'll pull that back a bit. On this lay shaft here, it should come out with a, see them bearings there? You don't want to lose any of them, basically. So what I tend to do is either put a plastic bag over this, or just bring your fingers and catch them all. Bring them all off and catch them all. And we'll just have a count up. I've dropped one on the floor, but I'll see where it went. So 3, 5, 7, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 21. But we've got 21 bearings there in that lay shaft. I'll just put them on there and I'll pick up the other one in a minute. So pull the lay shaft through, and that's our cush drive out. As I said, I did rebuild the cush drive which is in there. It's got 2 springs in every position, so 2, 4, 6, 8 on a P200. The PX 150 and 125s have only got a single spring. Even though they've only got a single spring, I still do the double because it's not going to hurt. You know, they upgraded that cush drive on the P200 for a reason, so I'm just giving that a wipe as we speak. So you can see there's no damage when I made it and rebuilt it. And again, the cush drive's got no damage to the gears. All of them are square on, no chips out of any one of them. In fact, I'd say that's as good as new. They are brilliant. I was very happy with the gearbox on this scooter. So I'll put that safe, and then all we've got really, when I move that out of the way, if I shift the engine back around, sit down square, that's our oil seal, which is still good as new, and it's in. You want it just below flush so it doesn't rub against the crankshaft. This is the problem when there's oil everywhere when you put an engine on its side, but you can see there's somewhere where they've tightened it up. This part here is called the pad, and you don't want anywhere whatsoever on that. This is as good as new. The way to test that is with the crankshaft built, turn the crankshaft around so that that part of it there is blocking the pad, and put some oil in there and count anything over 20 seconds and your sealing pad's fine. Below that, if it literally pours through, then you've got a gap that's too big here. It never will seal because it's not touching. It's just like it creates a vacuum when it runs, and I can't see any digs or grooves in that, so I'm very happy with that. The oil seal I was on about earlier, if I drop you down, is there. That's the inner oil seal that they now use on the P2, and there's a gap where my finger is. That's where the oil, if it goes through past here, will drip out on the floor, not on your rear brakes. There is no metal filings anywhere in that engine, not a single one, which is brilliant. You know, I wish that half the engines you built were like that, but hey ho, que sera, sera, whatever you want to say. So what I'm going to do now is, off camera, I'm just going to clean up this, and I'll get the oil seals out. You just put a screwdriver in basically and lever them out. The same with the rear hub. I will change the rear hub, I've got nothing to lose, as soon as I have got them, and they're all Viton ones. Bit of paint there, or is it? I don't know what that is. Looks like a bit of paint. It's not metal anyway. Oh, I know what it is, where they machine the casings. It's just a shiny bit, whatever. But I mean, they don't even need cleaning inside, do they? I mean, they're really good. It's just clean off the old red hematite, clean up the faces. Like I say, they're only pulled out with a screwdriver. Better to use a bigger screwdriver than a smaller one, but all you do is just put it in between and turn it. I'll do that off camera anyway, because I'm a bit wary about dropping any of these little loose bearings, and I don't want to forget where that one dropped. So I'll end this video here. Thanks for watching again, and the next video will be putting the oil seals in, when I've cleaned this up, of course. So we'll be putting the oil seals in, put the crankshaft back in. I'll show you how I'll pull that in without a tool. We'll be looking at the crankshaft, cleaning all that up, and we'll put in the lay shaft, the cush drive and the clutch, etc., rebuild it. And I'm going to retime this engine, so you know, it's mainly dirt and petrol and oil on the outside than the inside. So, but it will get a nice clean, and I'm not polishing it or anything. I'm not one of them sort of people, but you know, you can have it vapor blasted, take the bearings out and vapor blast it, and you should get a finish akin to that, what we're looking at there, that shine. It just goes dull, but I prefer the slightly dull version. You can wire brush it a little bit, but this is impregnated with oil over the years, and it's sealed. Aluminium's porous, and it absorbs dirt and what have you, and it gives you that finish, and it just keeps it from going off powdery and white. So yeah, I'll get this oil seal out and this oil seal, and then we'll clean this up, as I say, and then we'll start rebuilding the engine. As I say, thanks for watching again. Take care, everybody. Bye for now.